And hello everybody, welcome to the live Q&A for September, October. The chat doesn't seem to be working. Let's just connect this. If you're in the chat, please let me know if you can hear me, see me, and everything is working okay. That appears a bit big and stretched, doesn't it? There we go. It's weird, I'm sure you could resize this without... Yeah, it doesn't seem to be doing what it used to do. This is very unusual. But anyway, I'll leave the chat like this. There was a way that I could basically make the window bigger without resizing it, but that doesn't seem to be working now. So anyway, yes, hello everybody. And yeah, let me know in the chat if everything is working fine. Nilsson's here, Lone Jedi's here, David's here, Tom's here, Scott's here. Everything is working fine. So first of all, an apology. Obviously, it's a week late. I got back from Tabletop Gaming Live on Sunday, and the whole plan was that, right, Monday, I will do the live Q&A because Monday was the last day of the month. And then it got to like Wednesday, and I was like, wasn't I supposed to be doing something on Monday? And then I've had a heck of a week. For those people who are following me on the Slack channel, you'll know that, yeah, been working a lot this week, all day yesterday and most of this morning. So yeah, so it's slightly delayed. Also, I'm exhausted. I have just done a live playthrough of this, and oh boy, this took a lot out of me. So I am quite exhausted. But anyway, this is the live Q&A for the month of September 2019, and I'm going to be answering all of your questions. I've had a load of questions in advance on the BGG Guild, which is always the best place to put them. I've also had some questions in on the Facebook group, and I will be answering any questions live as well. Andy's here as well. Thank you very much, Andy, for joining me. And thank you for your help with the rules. Hopefully, the live playthrough that I did of this, that's helped you with the rules as well. Now, got a sweet, which I'm going to take out, because that's no good. So yes, let's go over to my BGG Guild, and let's start answering some of the questions that I've had in advance on there. Oh, Marvel Champions, the card game, pre-order now. Right, okay, let's pull up my guild and see what questions we've had. I haven't had any time to prepare for this whatsoever, so this is definitely going to be a very rough and ready one. I could have prepared, but I really wanted to play this afternoon, so I did. I also did a live stream of Sierra West yesterday as well. Right, okay, so a question in from Govind, all the way over in Japan. Thank you very much for your questions. Any tips and advice on how to teach complex games with long rules explanations without basically the other players falling asleep? So yes, there's a few ways of doing this. The method that I would choose to use if the other players were happy with it would be Paul's interactive method for teaching people how to play complex games, where basically you say, look, the first game is going to be a learning game. We're going to write it off as a learning game. We're all going into this. The whole objective of this is just to learn the rules of the game and to see how the moving parts work. Nobody needs to be thinking about how to win. Everybody's going to make a ton of mistakes, but this is going to be the best way to learn. I have been experimenting with so many different methods over the years. This, for me, is by far the best method for me and most of the people that I know. There's a group of people I know who will say, oh God, no, I need to know every single rule in the book. Talk to me for an hour and a half and tell me every single fine little detail because I want to be competitive from game one. And that's fine. If they want to do that, you can spend all day playing a game with everybody really overthinking every single move they make. No, forget that. It's a learning game. Don't even aim to play a full game. Explain the basics and then just start going. Move stuff around. See what happens. Read the rules as you're going along, which sounds terrible, I know. But, you know, if somebody does something, check to see what happens. If they don't like it, allow them to take it back. Just play it. Do things. It's much better than listening to somebody talk for an hour. And to be honest, very few people can listen to an hour's rules explanation and take it all in. Some people can, and that's fine. But most people can't. So if you sit there for an hour and talk to them, you're going to be there for ages anyway, because then again, they're going to have to ask all of the questions all over again over the next few hours. Anyway, there you go. First tip. What are Mr. Grogan's top 3 must-haves in a rule book? Oh, top 3 must-haves. Well, definitely don't front-load information. Do not front-load with pages and pages of, here's really important stuff that you're going to need to know. before you've even done the setup or what the game's about. Just don't do that. Don't give me pages and pages of information, which I know is important, and I know you think is really important, and it's really useful, but when I'm reading the rulebook for the first time, I do not need to know all of that now. Put that out in call-out boxes. So call-out boxes, so, you know, for example, I put lots of call-out boxes in rulebooks I'm working on, and it's basically, oh, something, 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 and then you take one of the cards from this stack, and then there'll be a call-out box of, here's what the cards from this stack do. Tell me at that point, because that's the point where I need to know that information. So tell me then. So call-out boxes, definitely. Must-haves, absolutely must. Oh, lots of examples and images. Lots of examples, lots of images, and nicely spaced out. So there's a bit of white space and it isn't just crammed in wall-to-wall text. I'm going to have to switch across to the chat. Oh, I can scroll up. That's interesting. I can scroll up in the chat. Right, so David Ellis, long time no see. Yeah, it's been all of 15 minutes. Have I named my chameleon? No. Mark's here. Hello, Mark. Mark is the lucky winner of last month's contest. I've not done my vlog yet for September, but when I do my vlog, Mark won a Pledge of Oath Sworn. So congratulations, Mark. There you go, sneak preview. Scott has got a non-sock related question. I've noticed being very critical of rule books. That's the problem with the chat, it jumps down. Do you think your editing job has made you less tolerant of issues than the average player? Absolutely, 100%. I mean, I always had a thing for rule books and I was always complaining about them, but now I am so less tolerant of them because I know the amount of time and effort it makes to make a good rule book, but I know when I see things in a rule book that are wrong, it's because the publisher's been lazy. And a publisher's job is to make a good game that's a good quality production that people will buy. And although I get given a lot of games for review copies, I'm still a gamer and I put myself in the mind of somebody. I've bought your game. I've given you 30 quid, 50 quid, 100 quid, whatever. I have given you money for a game and you've given me a faulty production because, you know, the rulebook's not up to scratch. Now, obviously, if there's a few little typos here and there, that's fine, but when the rulebook is as shocking as some of the rulebooks out there are, it just shows disregard for the players. So I don't have a good opinion of publishers that constantly put out bad rulebooks and don't do anything better. Anyway, Wayne says, have you considered filming Trickerian rules for the new stuff? Solo mode, Dalgard's Academy, Dawn of Technology. There are no videos of solo mode. I haven't, but I don't know if you know, Wayne, but a lot of the content that I create is, you know, commissioned is what I'm trying to say. I was trying to say commissioned or sponsored, and I came up with conspired. Anyway, so if I was to do a video like that, and it would need to be absolutely correct, and it would need to be perfect, I would have to spend a lot of time in creating it, and that would probably be a sponsored video. The other thing I do is a lot of content through my Patreon campaign, like the Cloudspire video that I did this afternoon, like the Sierra West video. They take a lot less time because I'm not being paid to do them. There's no way that I could take, you know, 30 hours out of my time and do a rules video for Trickerian. So I would happily do one, but it would have to be a commissioned video. So Mind Clash would have to ask me to create one, or I would have to ask them if they wanted me to create one. I'd more than happily do one, but I don't have room in my schedule at the moment. Where did I get that giant meeple from AJ? This is a present from Vicky's parents. So Vicky's mum does a bit of woodworking as a hobby. Basically, they wanted to make me something, so they made me a giant meeple. And yeah, this is it. It just about fits on the shelves, but it's very big and it's very heavy. So yes, that is the giant meeple. Right, let's go back to the questions on the BGG Guild. It's Govind again. Have you ever had a situation where you dismissed a game after reading a rulebook, however, ended up liking the game a lot when you finally, reluctantly perhaps, played it? Well, the first question is a good one. Have I ever dismissed a game after reading a rulebook? I probably have, but I wouldn't ever read the full rulebook. I'd be interested in a game, I'd have a glance at it. And then if I couldn't get on with it, either I realised that the game isn't for me, or the rulebook was so badly disorganised I just wouldn't bother with it. And have you ended up liking the game a lot when you finally, reluctantly perhaps, played it? So Too Many Bones is a good example. I have tried to play Too Many Bones 3 times from the rulebook. The rulebook is not good. The rulebook is really, really not good. And there's so much information about that game which is like, oh, this is on the back corner of your player sheet. This is how that works. But that doesn't make any sense either. But I suspect I will really enjoy Too Many Bones when I eventually get round to playing it. But it's not that I've dismissed the game. I've put the game back on my shelf because I can't learn how to play from the rulebook. And I've put so much effort into trying. I just haven't. So anyway, finally, ending with a quirky question. You have been granted a wish to change one game mechanism in an already published game. All of the copies that exist will magically update to whatever mechanism you wished for to change. What game would you change and why? Which game would you change and what would you change it? So the Pathfinder adventure card game that I've been playing a lot of, I say recently, I played a lot of it last month and I did four playthrough videos for it. And I want to do more. The Pathfinder adventure card game I really like. It's kind of like a D&D role-playing-y type game, but with cards. But it's massively random. And there's so many mechanisms in that game that are really good. The way that the card play works, the display, the healing, that is brilliant. I love that. But I would change the roll to resolve mechanism in that game for something less random. I'm not saying not completely random, but I would move it a little bit away from the less random if I could. Yeah, other than that, yeah, there's probably other ones as well. There's a few games where I think, oh, this is like a really good game, but you know, the core mechanism doesn't suit me. Yeah, I'd also change the Pathfinder one so that the cards weren't completely random. One thing I like about the FFG LCGs, like the Lord of the Rings one, you build the encounter deck based on certain cards. So if you're going through the forest, Mirkwood, you will build the encounter deck of goblins, spiders, and things like that. You will not build it full of, you know, orcs and wraiths and, you know, whatever they are, then the Southrons. And that carried through to the Arkham Horror game, whereas in the Pathfinder game, it's literally, right, this location's got 2 minions. Randomly choose 2 minions from your entire collection. So every game you play is basically just a series of completely random cards everywhere you go. And it's, yeah, anyway, right. Let's go back to the chat. Oh, gosh, right. John's back. Hello, John. Did you have any experience of editing documents or similar before you started to tackle rulebooks? So, no, not really. I mean, I'm not a technical writer. I did documentation for companies that I worked for, and I've actually created documentation management systems myself. I mean, the manual workflow processes. So I'm more about the workflow process behind the system. So version control documentation management systems, you know, making sure everybody's on the latest version, all sorts of stuff like that, cooperative shared files and things like that. But I wasn't an editor of any real technical documentation. So no, I didn't have that. What I did do is I did quite a lot of voluntary rulebook editing work before doing it professionally, because I'm a gamer. I want rulebooks to be clear. If I read a rulebook and it's not clear and I like the game, I want to do my bit to help. I want to create some FAQ. I want to do that. So I did all of that beforehand. Yeah, just because I wanted to. Did the Chameleon enjoy Cloudspire? Well, the Chameleon was the other player and I lost. So did you enjoy it? I think that's a yes. Right. John, after seeing your Through the Ages video from 2015, I think it's time to redo it in colour or do a digital Blitz live game. Yeah, so Through the Ages, New Story of Civilization. It wasn't 2015. I think it was 2016. Wow, was it 2015? Anyway, Through the Ages, A New Story of Civilization came out at Essent 2015 or 16. And unfortunately, CGE didn't manage to get the rulebook finished in time. I won't go into the full details of why, or blame Vlager. I wouldn't do that live on camera, so I'm not going to. But anyway, the rulebook wasn't ready. So it was very embarrassing for CGE to sell a game at Essen with no rulebook. And people were buying the game and they wouldn't be able to go home and learn how to play, which was pretty shocking. So I said, I mean, I was planning to take a few days off after Essen, and I said, look, I will get home from Essen and I will film the roughest, worst video I have ever done. It will be literally me point the camera, press record, and I'll talk. I'll make loads of mistakes. It'll be badly filmed. It'll be badly edited. I'll be using digital zoom in, so it'll lose all the resolution. It'll be awful. People have said it's like the best video ever. And it's like, no, it's awful. It's really, really badly done. But I knocked it out in a couple of days because, you know, I know the game quite well. Is it time to do a new one? Maybe. But, I mean, let's do it. Let's come around, let's do a full live video of us playing it. But to be honest, I play Through the Ages on the app now. I don't have the 5-6 hours around a table to play the game that I used to have. You know, I'll play other games instead. And the app is just so fantastic. Right. What else have we got? Just joining as I was playing Scenario 2. Alan was joining, you were playing Scenario 2 in Cloudspire. So that assumes that you've done Scenario 1. Please let me know how you did it, because I've no idea how you do it. JB, do you sometimes get fed up of playing games given it is your work and your hobby? So, JB, I get asked this a lot. I probably get asked this every month, but I have no problem with answering this question as many times as people want to know it, because I'm very happy to say that I love playing games. Absolutely love playing games, probably more now than I ever have before. So the fact that it's my job, the fact that I dream about games, I wake up in the morning and within 10 minutes of waking up, I'm in work mode and I'm gaming, I'm writing rule books, I'm developing games, I'm playing games in my spare time. My entire life is just completely all games. And people said, when your hobby becomes your job, you're going to stop enjoying it. I don't enjoy being up till 4 o'clock in the morning, editing a rule book because it has to go to print and the publisher's changed some rules. I don't enjoy that, okay? And some of my job, like this weekend, I've had to work most of this weekend because I needed to get a video done because there was a deadline. I don't enjoy that part of it. But, you know, the fact that I'm working in an industry which is my hobby, which I love, when I actually just sit and play games, it's great. But going back to one of the questions earlier, I'm a lot less tolerant. If I'm reading a rule book and it's a terrible rule book, it will bother me more. If the graphic design is bad and it's not intuitive, and doing this thing gets me 5 points, but the 5 points isn't written in the space where I would get the 5 points. It's like, well, why didn't you write it there? I will get irritated more than I ever did before, but I still love playing games. I mean, if you've seen my Cloudspire video this afternoon, that was just me playing a game, right? I was absolutely loving it. And I said to Vicky, I just want to play it again right away because it's fantastic. Anyway, right. Do you know anywhere that sells good quality tubes for games mats? Can't find them anywhere. No. But go to a carpet shop. We've got a local carpet shop in Columpton, and I went there when I had my felt mats before I got the neoprene mats, and I said, do you have any cardboard rolls for carpets that you don't want anymore? And some of them were this big. And you would be able to roll them up and put a mat inside. So yeah, now I have a storage method I have 4 neoprene mats for this game topper, and the storage method that I have is they're all on the table, okay? One on top of the other. So when I want to switch mats, I take one off and I just switch them around. So all 4 mats are on this table. Now, when I speak to Kevin and say, oh yeah, I'd like the Viking mat, oh, I'd like the dungeon mat, and I'd like this mat, suddenly my mats are actually going to get higher than the table. Right, okay, so Through the Ages was 2015. Wow, okay. Alan says he lost the first time, but won the second. You won the second one. Well done. Really important, how are the cats? The cats are amazing. Yeah, the cats are just absolutely lovely. They are the sweetest, cutest things, and they are so lovely and so friendly. Especially Loki. Thor we don't see much during the day. He disappears off after his breakfast and we see him in the evening. He's very lovely in the morning and in the evening. But Loki is here all day, every day, constantly meowing, constantly jumping up, snuggling all over me multiple times a day. He's lovely. Scott says, from the perspectives of all your roles in the industry, what one piece of advice would you give to an upcoming amateur games designer? One piece of advice? Wow. I've got lots. Don't go overboard on the graphic design and the artwork until your game's actually fundamentally tested. Start with scraps of paper and little bits of numbers and text. You don't need anything fancy. Playtest your games with people you don't know. Get other people to playtest your games. A lot of people don't like giving negative opinions and don't like saying your game was rubbish. Whereas I demo a game and I say, look, I've got a game. I'm not the designer. I'm here to show you the game and I want your honest feedback. If it's rubbish, they'll tell me and then I pass that information on. Get reliable third parties to test your game for you and provide good feedback. Blind test your rulebooks, get somebody independent involved. There's so many things to recommend. JB, would you recommend Letter Jam for playing with special educational needs children from 11 or more? Kids with ADHD, Asperger's and autism. I personally have almost no experience with that particular crowd, so it would be very difficult for me to recommend that game for that particular group of people. I'm sorry, I don't want to answer that question because I don't feel qualified really to be able to answer that question. I have, yeah, as I say, I have very little experience with kids who have those symptoms, so I don't know if that game would be good for them. Alan says he's investigated getting great tubes, but need to order 300 as a minimum. What? 300 tubes? Yeah, no, go to the carpet shop. Adam's here. Hello, Adam. How's it going today? Good. I'm exhausted. I'm absolutely exhausted. Working since 7 o'clock this morning, rushing around, doing 2 videos, a rule book, live stream of Cloud Spire. Go and watch it. It's fantastic. Not the live stream. Well, the live stream was good, but the game's brilliant. Anyway, right, let's go back to the questions on the guild. Give me a 30-second pitch for Jaffa Cake the board game, says Chris Tong. 30-second pitch for Jaffa Cake the board game. Right, so this is a worker placement game with a lot of player interaction where you're running a production factory and you have to buy in all of the different things that you're going to need. So you're going to have to buy in the orange, you're going to have to buy in the chocolate, you're going to have to buy in what's the bit at the bottom? The sponge. Then you're going to have to hire, well, this is just Chocolate Factory, isn't it? Yeah, I'm basically just explaining Chocolate Factory. Yeah, we've got Chocolate Factory. It's a game about making sweets. Who is your favourite Marvel character in and out of game? Oh, wow. This is from Chris Stanton. Who is your favourite Marvel character? I like a lot of them. I might have to go with Iron Man. So Iron Man was the first Marvel film in the MCU, and I thought it was brilliant. And I do like the Iron Man character. He's obviously very cocky and very arrogant, but yeah, I think I'd probably have to go. Now, you're saying in and out of game because I've been playing the Marvel LCG game, but I haven't played it enough. I've only played Captain Marvel and I've played Spider-Man, so I haven't played the others yet. Should there be better coordination and cross-promotion between the various UK conventions? Well, yeah, I think there should be. I mean, there is a little bit. But yeah, there should probably be a bit more coordination. I mean, there is a spreadsheet on the Board Game Trading in Chat Facebook group of all of them. And a lot of them operate independently. A lot of them are, you know, they just do what they want to do and they don't care what else is going on at the time. So yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to get everybody to all cooperate and coordinate together. I mean, there is Facebook groups of tournament convention organisers, which can be helpful. Alicia wants to know, what are 5 expansions you think drastically improved the base game? Oh wow, I can't answer that. I'd need to think about that. Answers in the chat. 5 expansions that you think drastically improved the base game. So I'm going to say, first of all, anything from Fantasy Flight games from years ago, because the first expansion basically fixed all of the brokenness in the base game. So Twilight Imperium 3rd edition ended up being broken, and the first expansion fixed that. So yeah, Fantasy Flight have got a tradition of releasing games that then end up being broken and they need to fix them. 5 expansions just drastically improved the base game. Orleans expansion, because of the events. I didn't like the events from the base game. The new events make that game brilliant. What else? What games have I got that I've got expansions for? Answers in the chat. Throw me some ideas and I'll give you my opinion. What are 5 expansions that lessen your enjoyment of the game? Wow. I'm not sure about that. And with most people focused on new releases, I would like to know some older titles that you think are still worth playing. Lots of them. And this is the thing. I could go through my collection and there are games in there from 5-10 years old that are still worth playing. Russian Railroads is, what, 4-5 years old? And is just great. There are so many great games. Keyflower. You know, that's quite old now. Say quite old, don't know. Key Market is actually 10 years old, but he's got a second edition coming out. And Key Market is a great game. And if they didn't do a second edition, it would still be a great game. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of old games. I'd have to go through my entire collection and say, yes, 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 yes. And these are still worth playing. Depends on your definition of old game. Because anything from more than... I mean, Princes of Florence is coming up for 20 years old now, I think. And that's still playable. Yeah, there are still probably some 20-year-old games that are still good and still playable. In the chat, people have said, Great Western Trail, the expansion. I've not played it yet. Shh, don't tell anybody. Is brilliant. The first Merlin expansion. I don't have it yet. I need to have a word with Queen Games about that. Oh, Viticulture, Visitors. In fact, Viticulture, really, really hated. The base game of Viticulture, hated it. The card play is just like, well, I've drawn this card at the start of the game and it's good at the end of the game. Or I've drawn this card at the end of the game and it's useless. The cards that Tuscany brought in fixed a massive problem I had with that game. Terraforming Mars Prelude. Yes, definitely, for an expansion which made it better. Scott has suggested Dark City, but we're not talking card games here. Also, I don't like Legendary. Machikoro expansion, another good one. Apparently Machikoro is completely broken without the Harbour expansion. Yeah, right. Other questions in the chat. What makes Cloudspire so great? It's new and it's shiny, and I get excited by new and shiny things. Does that answer your question? What makes it so great? Go and watch my solo playthrough. I'm not doing a review of it. So I say great. I've only played like 3 half games and 1 full game, and that was earlier on today. It can be played solo. It can be played cooperatively. It can be played competitively. It can be played as a team game. There's 4 different factions, 5 if you got the expansion set. It's a puzzle game. I like puzzle games. It's quite deterministic. There's a little bit of dice rolling, but not a lot. It's challenging. It's a bit too challenging. I actually think the base scenario is a bit too hard, unless we're all still just learning it. The core rules are actually medium weight. The core rules of the game are not super complicated, but every tile has got an ability, and then you need to look up the abilities, and it's the way those interact. It's extremely clever. It's extremely well done. The production quality is fantastic. And if you want to see me playing a game of it, it's on my channel right now. I did it 2 hours ago. Right. Is that all? Am I caught up with the questions? No. John Sullivan. What would be your top 3 board games that every gamer should have to introduce new gamers to? It keeps changing all the time. Because games are coming down in accessibility. No, they're coming down in complexity, down in length, and up in accessibility. So 5 years ago, I would be saying Carcassonne, Ticket to Ride. Now, I'm saying Baron Park, Azul, Copenhagen. I mean, Copenhagen is brilliant. 5-minute teach. Game takes 25 minutes to play. So yeah, introducing new board gamers to people, I would definitely do a competitive one. So like Copenhagen or Baron Park, something with a nice theme that people can relate to, something that isn't too complicated and that you can teach in a few minutes. Something which is cooperative. I think everybody, if you're picking 3 games to introduce new gamers or people who are new to the hobby, you definitely want to use 1 cooperative game at least. So give me some ideas of some simple cooperative quick games. I mean, maybe something like Forbidden Island or Forbidden Desert from Matt Leacock. Although they are aimed at a younger audience, they might be great. Yeah, oh, AC Geek is here. You finally managed to join one Q&A. Thank you. Old Great Game Outpost from Gabriel Hardy. Thank you very much for joining in the live Q&A, Gabriel. I'm not a fan of Outpost. I really don't like it. Now, I've got friends who absolutely love it and say the game is fantastic. For me, Outpost is very dated. It has a massive runaway leader problem. The rich get richer. You do the right things. You might get a little bit lucky with the card draws. You buy more stuff, which produces more stuff. Yeah, it's an exponential growth game. Yeah, I just don't like it really. But I know people that still play it now. Adam says, what is your advice and top tips for somebody's first visit to Essent, as this will be your first visit? Well, this is good because I've also had this question in from Keith on the Board Game Geek Guild. What survival advice would you give to people attending Essent Spiel for the first time, asking for a daughter? Keith's daughter recently got a job working for Asmodee UK. So I assume that she's going to be working there rather than visiting it as a punter. Adam is visiting it as a punter. Again, I could do a whole video on top survival tips for Essent. First, be prepared to be absolutely overwhelmed. If every other convention you've been to, you've had time to walk around all of the halls and see all of the booths, you will not have time at Essent. There's people who disagree with me. Those people are wrong. And to be fair, if you went to Essent and ran around all of the booths and all of the halls, you would have time to see all of the booths. You wouldn't have time to look at any of them. So just be prepared to be overwhelmed. Be prepared that it's going to be busy. Be prepared that you might not get to play as many games as you want to play. Here's what I think you should do. Have a look at the list that's on BGG or Tabletop Together. Get a list of games that you absolutely, definitely want to see. Get maps. Highlight the locations. Make sure you've got a map with you. Make sure you know where you're going. But don't fill all of your time. Plan about a third to a half. And then spend the rest of the time walking around the halls. Make sure you've got a map because you can easily get lost. Spend some time in the back halls, 5, 6 and 7. Because although there are lots of small publishers in there, there are some great games that you might have missed otherwise. Don't just spend your time in halls 1, 2 and 3. Obviously, come to hall 1, buy me some cakes, give the cakes to me, disappear off, and then go into hall 5. Don't stay up all night playing games. I did that when I was younger. If you were as young as I was when I first went to Essent, do that and it'll be fine. I can't do that now at all. Get a good night's sleep because it's going to be hectic and it's going to be busy. Top tip for getting to play a game, you need to hang around a table. If you go to a booth and all the tables are occupied, you need to wait. You need to hang around, look across, ask people, do you know how much longer you'll have? If they say, oh, we've just started or we're on the last round. Say, do you mind if we take this table next? And they'll say, no, that's fine. And then you hang around. You've got to wait. You've got to wait. You don't like book times or anything. You just hang around, wait for a table to become free, and then you're in. Yeah, there's a few survival tips. So hopefully that's okay. Oh, I would recommend taking some food with you as well, so you don't get hungry. Take some snacks. There's food there, and the food is okay, but I pretty much make sandwiches in the morning and take them with me. M. Roberts wants to know, is it a Geek and Son or Rathskeller's tables? I don't know, Rathskeller's. The Geek and Son ones are nice. They're expensive, but they're nice. Tiny Towns might be in top 5 for new gamers. Yes, Tiny Towns. I forgot that. Tiny Towns is a cracking game. Definitely for new gamers. I've used that for new gamers a lot. Azul is a great game as an introductory experience. Yes. If you want to teach people that you can make dick moves in games and screw other people over. Some people don't want that. Some people want their introductory games to be devoid of player interaction and conflict. So, yeah. AC Geek says, it's early for you to say, but you're planning to go to UK Games Expo next year. Cool. Yeah, well, I'll see you there if you can. Right, back to the guild. Oh, lots of questions, lots of questions. Simon Lavender. Which conventions are you gaming at next for the rest of the year? Well, I've just come back from Tabletop Gaming Live last weekend. There's a little meetup in Germany happening in a few weeks' time. It's got 2 weeks. Oh, wow. I have so much work to do before then. I've got an On Mars video to do, 2 reviews. Oh, yeah, let's not think about it. So I'm going to Essent. I leave on the Monday and I'll be coming back the following Monday. So I'm gone for the whole week. Then I've got GridCon, my own convention. 11 tickets left. If you want to come to my own convention that I'm running in Devon this November, there are 11 tickets left. There's going to be 200 people there. At the moment, there's 189. So book now. Yeah, if you don't want to be disappointed, book now. Simon also said, I had a quick thing to say to you, finishing with Martin C, etc., etc., while you were rushing for sandwiches. Okay, you had a quick thing to finish saying. I can't remember that. Anyway, if you've got any questions, let me know. Rick Howard, with Halloween coming up, have you ever played a horror board game? No, I played Atmosphere when I was like 12. Wasn't very good. Arkham Horror, obviously, which I would class as a horror board game. It is quite scary. I get quite scared. Or a game with a horror theme that you think actually works in a horror capacity. I've not really played any of them, and to be honest, games like that sort of are all about horror are probably more on the theme of the game. Oh, let's light some candles and wear robes and play it in a dark room, and it's all about the feeling of the game and the atmosphere, and I don't go in for that sort of stuff really. So those type of games I'm not really a big fan of. There are a few new ones that have come out over the last few years. Oh, The Thing, Who Goes There, and Horrified. Right, I haven't played any of them. I would like to play The Thing. I mean, I'm a massive fan of the film, so if it captures that feeling, then that would be good. However, I don't like the sort of social deduction. Oh, somebody's a traitor. Oh, it's you. Oh, no, it's not me. I don't like that. I don't like semi-cooperative. I don't like, what was that zombie game that I didn't like? The semi-cooperative zombie game with the crossroads element. Anyway, that one. Didn't like that. The Shogunstein is saying Horrified is pretty good. Okay. Yeah, there you go. I don't know about that. Also, any games that are maybe 2 to 3 years old that are bargains that you would recommend that are actually being overlooked? Oh, again, I can't answer that one off the top of my head. Any games that are 2 to 3 years old that are currently bargains? I don't know. I don't know the price of games at the moment. I mean, there are some games that have come out in the last 2 or 3 years that are now cheap, but that's because they're not very good. Yeah, I'm sure there's a few, but as I say, I don't know what the prices are like. I'd have to go back and look at what were my favourite games over the last 2 or 3 years and see which one of them I thought were good, but that nobody else did, and therefore they're quite cheap. Dark Soul says Winter of Dead. You mean Dead of Winter? Yes, Dead of Winter is the game I didn't like. That's it. Just don't like semi-cooperative games. Right, more questions on the guild. Mark Tattersall wants to know, I am branching out into games with a significant look element, which has pleasantly surprised him. For example, Arkham Horror, the card game, and Oathsworn. Are there any others you are tempted by? So, Arkham Horror, the card game, I'm absolutely loving. It's in my top 5 games. I'm currently in the middle of the Night of the Zealot campaign, and we are doing Scenario 3 on Wednesday. So if you're not doing anything on Wednesday night and want to see the conclusion of our Night of the Zealot, I don't know if it's Zealot or Zealot, but anyway, Scenario 3, the final chapter of our campaign, is Wednesday night. The other 2 are on the channel now. So if you want to go and watch The Gathering and Midnight Masks, yeah, I think it's The Gathering. Yeah, anyway, those 2, they're on my channel right now, and I'm doing the 3rd one this week. And you're right, Arkham Horror does have a significant look element. The order of the cards which come out, you know, you might get a card which is great for you. You might get a card which is terrible for you. That's completely random. The tokens out the bag is random, but I absolutely love the game. The Pathfinder Adventure card game, I'm enjoying the random element in that. Yeah, it's a bit too random. I'm enjoying the game though, but it is quite random. Oathsworn. So Oathsworn, I'm professionally involved. I'm doing the rulebook and I'm doing the videos for the game. I'm not actually playing the game. So I can't say that, yeah, you're saying that I'm branching out into games with a random element. I am commissioned to do work on Oathsworn. I'm not actually playing it myself. I'm not saying I wouldn't play it myself. I definitely would play it myself because there's a lot of Oathsworn that I do like. Gloomhaven has a random element as well with the card draw. Anyway, more questions. Andy Grant. Thank you very much, Andy, for your questions. As you recently have started to play a few solo games, yeah. Other than Mage Knight, are there any solo games out there that you'd like to play from the last 3 or 4 years, despite you not having the time to do so? Nemo's War, definitely want to play that one, which is a purely a solo game, you know. Whereas Too Many Bones, you can play multiple characters, but Too Many Bones, once somebody teaches me how to play, I want to play that. I definitely want to play the Nemo's War. What else? Throw some ideas of solo games at me and I'll tell you whether I want to play them or not. What are your first thoughts on Cloudspire? I've answered that about an hour ago or an hour and a half ago. And yeah. Have you played Hoplomachus? No, haven't played Hoplomachus. What are your views on sleeving tokens with coin capsules? So Rick lent me his copy of Arkham Horror card game before I started buying into it, and that had coin capsules, and I didn't like them. I didn't like the look and the feel of them. Now, bearing in mind, I'm currently not using them, which means my coins, my tokens are probably going to get damaged. Okay, that's just one of those things. When they do, I've got a second set because I've got 2 core sets. I'll look at alternatives then. I don't like the cheap plasticky coin capsules. I just think they look awful. So yeah. The Shogunstein is saying Unbroken is good. Yeah. Unbroken is the game with the very, very controversial Kickstarter. So yeah, I'm not sure I'm ever going to get to play that. I would like to, but the chance of me getting hold of a copy is pretty slim. I certainly won't be asking for a review copy because yeah, the designer and the publisher is in real trouble with that game. Nemo's War is very good, says Scott. Cool. I think Andy's going to bring Nemo's War around one weekend and we're going to play the solo game together. I think that's the plan, isn't it, Andy? Should I sleeve my miniatures? This is Andy. Should you sleeve your miniatures? Chessex dice cases may do a good job. I don't know what you mean by sleeving your miniatures, but yes, any miniatures that you paint, you should store them properly in a foam case. Chewy wants to know, what game would you ensure that you get at Essent this year? I can't answer that right now because there's a whole load. I might be doing a pre-Essent podcast. I'm not sure, but there's loads. Maracaibo, Cooper Island, Alubari. Oh God, there's loads. There's about 20 games on my list of must-have games. Oh, Newdale. Basically, Alexander Pfister's new games. Definitely want those. But there's a load of other ones as well. I haven't had time to go through the list in full and see what I want. But there are loads on there that is coming out. And a lot of them I'm doing videos for. So let's just have a quick look. Crystal Palace. That's on my list as well. Yeah, there's a lot of games that I'm doing videos for. There's, who is it? Trismegistus from Board and Dice. I've already got a copy of that. If I didn't have a copy of that, that would be on my list as well. Although I have played it. Rulebook's not great. Graphic design is awful, but the game's good. There you go. One sentence review. Where's my things that I'm planning to do in November? Crystal Palace, Lorenzo card game, Eclipse 2nd edition, Kalis. I don't think Kalis will be out by then. Oh, Bus. Yeah, the new version of Bus, which is a spotter game that I've always had my eye on for years. Underwater Cities expansion. I'm doing videos for all of these, but these are ones that are definitely on my list to look out for. Keith wants the advice on going to Essent for the first time. I've done that. And Stephen Wagstaff says, slightly random question stemming from our lunchtime discussion about our belated honeymoon. Our discussion or yours and your partner's? You're thinking of going to Gen Con. What would be your top tips for first timers? Where would you recommend staying? And have you left it all too late for plan for 2020? So Stephen, I have only ever been to Gen Con through my work. There is no way that I could afford the thousands of pounds that it would cost me to fly there, hotel, and a week off work. I just can't do it. So I stay in one of the hotels which is nearby. It's booked as if we were exhibitors. It's very expensive. I would recommend you stay outside of town and drive in each day, but you will need to find a parking space, and that can be quite tricky. What would be your advice for going? Definitely go. Gen Con was fantastic. Certain events you want to book up. Have a look at the events, have a look at the ticketed events. Make sure you book tickets for the events that you want to do. I don't think you've left it too late to go, but if you wanted to do the True Dungeon, that is booked out way in advance. But there's plenty of other events going on. And have a word with me nearer the time. You're more than welcome to meet up with me while we're there and I can show you around, because there's a huge amount going on at Gen Con and you'll likely miss some of it if you don't know what's going on. It isn't just an exhibit hall with exhibitors. There's so much going on in the other places as well, and make sure you experience as much as you can of it. Go to some of the seminars, go to the other rooms and see as much as you can. That would be my advice. Right, that is it from the Board Game Geek Guild. I've then got questions in that I've had on the Board Game Trading and Chat UK Facebook group. Thank you very much for all of the questions in advance on there. How are we doing for time? 4:45, 4:45. Right, let's go back to the chat. Fiarkan is here. Sorry you missed most of it. That's fine, you can rewind. Oh, I'll tell you what, competition. 45 minutes in and I've not announced the competition. Apologies. Many apologies. If you are watching this live, you have a chance of winning a £25 gift voucher from Games Law. Toby Meany won last month. I don't know what he's bought with it yet. He hasn't told me. But this month is now. So if you're watching this live, send me an email. paul.grogan@outlook.com. And today's word, unsurprisingly, is Cloudspire. Okay. In fact, either Cloudspire or Tainted Grail. Tell me which is your favourite game out of these two. You've probably not played either, so tell me which one you most want to play out of Cloudspire or Tainted Grail. Send me that email. You've got to do it before the show ends. Otherwise, it doesn't count. And at the end of the show, I'll pick a winner. If you are a patron supporter, you get 2 entries into the contest. So please send me the email and let me know that you are a patron supporter in the email. paul.grogan@outlook.com, Cloudspire and Tainted Grail. Put that in the comments or the title, and yeah. Right. Okay. Where are we going? We're back to the live chat. Let's go to the live chat first. Carl from N20 Games. What kind of videos do you enjoy making the most, if any? No, I hate making videos. What do you see your channel focusing on more one type than another? So, yeah, this is a tricky question to ask. And I'm not going to give you a full answer because I'm not, I'm not feeling brave enough to share some personal information. So I thought about it for a minute and then I decided not to. So what kind of videos do I enjoy making the most? I mean, I like making all types of videos because I like the process of how can I boil this game down. I like doing super complicated games because I know that I do a good job, and that might come across as arrogant, but it's true. I know that I can turn a super complex game and I can play it, learn it, script it, work out how I'm going to teach it in the right order, and then convert that into video form. It takes an absolute age, and a lot of people probably don't notice. Some people do. Some people say, wow, that video was great. Thank you very much. You made a super complex game seem really accessible. So I like doing that, but those videos take me absolutely ages to do. I would probably say that I like doing videos for games which I enjoy playing. And to be fair, I generally do videos for games which I think are games which I'm going to enjoy playing myself. There are some exceptions to that. Let's take Oathsworn for an example. And I'm not saying that I'm not going to enjoy playing Oathsworn. I'm not saying that at all. But when Jamie from Shadowborn Games contacted me and asked me to get involved in the project, this was a long, long time ago. He told me about this project. He told me about the fact that this was going to be super epic and absolutely on a massive scale, and he wanted me involved right early on. I didn't really know anything about that game, but he convinced me to get involved because he was a first-time publisher, first-time designer. He had all of these crazy ideas, and I wanted to be part of that process, and I wanted to help him with it. For all you know, Oathsworn might be my least favourite game ever in the world, right? It might be. It's not, but I'm just saying it might be. And I got involved in that project because I wanted to help out the project, and I wanted to help the designer, and I wanted to help him with his dream. Now, I'm getting paid for doing the rulebook, and I'm getting paid for doing the video, but I could have easily said no. But he wanted me on board, and you know, he kind of convinced me that he wanted me to be involved. So there we go. So I did the video for that, whether or not that would be a type of game that I would cover. But generally speaking, yeah, I like doing the videos for the light to medium or even medium to heavy games. Vital Lacerda's games, I love the fact that me and Vital are in a professional partnership and I do all of his rulebooks and all of his videos. You know, that's good. I've recently done one for Chocolate Factory, which isn't going live yet because Alley Cat Games want me to wait a week or two before publishing it. But I enjoyed making the video for that because I think the game's good. There you go. I shouldn't say that. Right, anyway, there we go. What do you see your channel focusing on more than one type than another? I think the focus of my channel is still going to be the medium to heavy Euro games. I think that is probably going to be the focus. But to be fair, I will happily take on any sorts of games that I'm interested in. The live playthroughs are a different kettle of fish because they don't take me a week to create. So you're going to see some live playthroughs of games which perhaps I wouldn't want to spend a week creating a full rules video for, but I would be happy doing a live playthrough video of. Right. Dawn of the Zeds is very good, says Uffy. Now, Dawn of the Zeds, I've heard a few people talking about this game in the last couple of weeks, but I don't really know much about it. So tell me more. Tell me who the publisher is. Tell me if I should be looking at it. You've heard other people written Renegade by Ricky Royal as a light version of Mage Knight. Yeah, Ricky Royal is a massive fan of Mage Knight. I got to know Ricky because of Mage Knight. And I do have a prototype copy of Renegade, but I don't have a final copy. Maybe I should speak to Ricky and see if he can get me an actual final copy of Renegade, and I'll do some coverage of it. Because the theme of Renegade, I think, is absolutely fantastic. The whole hacking theme, I love that as a theme, and I don't think it's been done properly in a game. So yeah, I need to speak to Ricky about that. Right, your Through the Ages tutorial is a classic. Yeah, well, okay. As I say, people love it. People say it's fantastic. But for me, who wants to create professional quality products, it's not fantastic. It's awful, the way it's filmed and everything about it. Carl is saying, thanks, Hannah, do a great job, which is why you're asking questions. Thank you very much. What's for dinner tonight? Can you bring you some? I'm hungry. So apologies if you can hear my stomach rumbling, because it is rumbling, and I don't know if it's been picked up by the microphone. What is for dinner tonight? Vicky's downstairs cooking it. I think it's... What are we having? It's mince. I think it's chili con carne or something like that. I can't remember what's for dinner tonight. What geographical area of the world needs a board game making about it? Oh. That's an exceptional question. What geographical area of the world needs a board game making about it? Columpton. Got to be Columpton. No, I don't know. I would probably say, I mean, we've got one about the North Pole. We've got one about Antarctica, I think. Yeah, we've got one, Mountains of Madness, sort of. We got one about the Great Barrier Reef. Yeah, I'm not sure. Right, that's a question for the chat. Geographical area of the world that needs a board game making about it. And let's restrict it to natural geographical areas of the world rather than place names or man-made things. Yeah. Tasmania, the game. Sure. I don't know much about Tasmania. We need a proper game for Hong Kong. Yeah, because Blackout Hong Kong is not really about Hong Kong. Andy's got to go. Thank you, Andy, for joining in. Don't forget to enter the contest. Cloud Spire or Tainted Grail. Borneo. Orangutans moving through the trees. There we go. Lots of answers in the chat. Right. Dawn of the Zeds is from Victory Point Games, who is the same people who make Renegade. Now, what's happening with Victory Point Games? Because I've heard some things on Board Game Geek, I've heard some things on the grapevine, and I've heard some things on the professional grapevine, which I can't share, about Victory Point Games. So yeah, let me know what's happening with Victory Point Games, because I have heard not good things that's happening. Right, let's go back to... oh, I had this on screen. Where's it gone? I'm going to lose this now. The Facebook app on the iPad is terrible because it doesn't do notifications properly. Is anybody else having this problem? It's almost unusable. I've got my notifications and it says, I've got a notification, and I click on the notification and it takes me to the top of the group. It doesn't take me to my actual thread. So it's just a nightmare. It's been going on for months. It's happening on all of my iPads. It's clearly a problem with the app and they're not fixing it, which is terrible. Anyway, right. So questions in from the Board Game and Trading chat group. Have we got anything? Mark Kirkwood. Thank you very much, Mark. Actual question. Do you think as consumers we should start to take a quality over quantity approach to board games and try to curate smaller yet more personal collections of games? Mark would like to get down to 20 or 30 really enjoyable games. He's on 40 or 50 at present. So there's two things there. You're on 40 or 50 and you want to get down to 20 or 30. That's really commendable if you can get it down to that. I'm at 500 and it's growing and it's out of control. Because there are new games coming out all the time. And if I said, oh, I'm going to stick to a certain limit with a one in, one out policy, I'm going to have to get rid of some great games that I don't want to get rid of. Sure, I've got games that are 5 years, 10 years old that I don't play anymore. They're going to go into a charity raffle at GridCon. Plug, GridCon. 11 tickets left. But am I ever going to get rid of my copy of Puerto Rico? No. Am I ever going to get rid of my original copy of Kalis? Well, I might do now that there's a new one. But, you know, I wouldn't have done. Quality over quantity, yes, absolutely. And as I mentioned at the start, with publishers, bad quality production, bad components, make your decision, right? Don't buy games that have bad quality components or bad rule books. And I'm saying don't buy them. I don't want to be telling you what to do because the game might be great. But there are so many games coming out now where time and effort is spent on good rule books, good graphic design, good quality production, great components. Get those games. I was talking about Cloudspire the other day. Yeah, Cloudspire is $125 if you buy it and you get the box. But the quality of production is fantastic. The amount of gameplay is fantastic. And there is definitely people who are saying, look, I've only got 40 games, but Cloudspire is one of them. Mage Knight's another one. You know, things like that. So yeah, quality over quantity, definitely. You know, I am more likely to be playing Cloudspire in a year's time than Trismegistus, right? I'll play Trismegistus and I'll like it and it's fine. But the graphic design is like, oh, why am I going to play a game that's hard to play and hard to teach new people? Because, oh yeah, that yellow bit there, well, that should be black. And what does the black mean? Well, the black refers to this track here. It refers to the air track. Well, why is it? You know, it's just painful. Anyway, top 3 games that you've not been involved in that you're looking forward to from Essent, from Damien. Top 3 games that you've not been involved in. So that doesn't preclude games that I'm going to be involved in. So Maracaibo, I'm not involved in Maracaibo at all. I haven't been involved in Maracaibo at all. It's number 1 on my list because it's Alexander Pfister and it's medium to heavy. I am going to be doing a video of it after Essent, not a paid for one. So I'm not involved in that. That's number 1 on my list. What else? Oh, there's loads. I mentioned a few of them earlier on. As I say, I'm planning to do a podcast. If I get around to doing a podcast. Right, back to the live chat. Let's scroll up a bit. What have we got? Adam wants to know if I still do geocaching. I still do geocaching, but I've not done any for like months. I haven't been out for months. Victory Point Games joined Tabletop Tycoon, Dan Yarrington. Believe most of the creative team were then let go in the process. Yes, I've heard that. I've also heard other stuff. So yeah, Dan Yarrington, Tabletop Tycoon, for those people who don't know, and I don't want to say anything bad about him because everybody else says bad things about him. If you want to look up stuff about him, Game Salute, Tabletop Tycoon on Board Game Geek, there's a history of disasters following him. It confuses me. It really confuses me. I've read some of the stuff about him. He might be a nice guy. I don't know, but there's lawyers always involved. He's always screwing people over. There's always bad things going on. And yet he's still doing stuff. He's still buying other companies. He bought out Victory Point Games and then he's let all of the staff go. It's just weird. Anyway. Scott's saying it's pretty much the same for everybody. Facebook app, Android and iOS. I don't have problems on Android. Android seems to be working fine. Mongolia would be a great game to have a board game as it's been there and it's amazing. You've been there and it's amazing. Okay. Lancashire. Yeah, we've had one about Lancashire. African Plains, Stopping Poachers. Yeah, that'll be a good one. Essex, suits a flat board game. Nice. Right. Paul said thank you to Uffy. What Paul's email. Right, yes. paul.grogan@outlook.com. Yeah, say Cloudspire or Tainted Grail. Answer by the end of the show and you'll get entered into the contest. Nice Day 3. Do you think that some games like Cloudspire, given their complexity, are better suited to an iPad game? So, yeah, this is the thing. So, I mean, Cloudspire is based on tower defense style games. Sorry about that. Tower defense style games are computer games. So they've translated a computer game into a board game. Would it be better as a computer game? Well, certainly it would do a lot of the admin for you. But, and I'm going to quote Ricky Royal here, these are nice. These are chips, right? And I can sit here and I can play a solo game of Cloudspire and I could play it on the iPad. But having it on the table with physical bits that I'm picking up here and there. Sure, I'm going to make rules mistakes. I'm going to get things wrong. But you can't beat this. I don't want to be spending my entire life on an iPad. I spend as much of my time. I spend, you know, in bed every night and reading rule books and everything else and playing. I play a lot of games on the iPad. And yeah, if this game was on an iPad, it would be great. If they did a great app, it would be fantastic because it would do all of the admin for me. But I don't want to be playing this game multiplayer on an iPad. I want to sit down with Vicky and I want to play the cooperative game of this and Tainted Grail. And I want to play it with real physical pieces on a table. So yes, Ricky Royal is all about the tactileness of board games as well. So, yeah, that was that question. Where was that question from? That question was from the live chat. Bad rulebooks is a big issue. Yes, it is. I might have missed some of the questions. This is not good. But anyway, sorry if I've missed some of the questions. Yeah, the issue is you don't know if they have bad rulebooks or components until you get it to the table. Yeah, thankfully, you can go online and you can get a lot of rulebooks ahead of time. But then again, how many people read rulebooks for a game before they buy the game? Not many. So I think you're right, AJ. You don't know until you've actually got the game. And I was on a Facebook group this afternoon, and I was talking about Phil Eklund games because they were talking about Neanderthal and how the game is terrible. How the rulebook is terrible. And I piped up because I don't want to start going on Facebook groups and just criticising other people. But to be honest, Phil Eklund's rulebooks deserve the criticism that they get. And there are other people who posted on that thread of like, yeah, I bought the game. I bought Neanderthal. I bought Greenland. I got the game. I tried to learn it from the rulebook. I then sold the game. I didn't even bother trying to play it. And other people have said, we were unable to play this game. And one person said, oh, I've spent like 5 weeks reading all of the forums and FAQs and I've downloaded another. Yeah, if you want to spend all of your time in having to do something that the publisher should have done, the publisher should not be making it hard for you to learn how to play the game that you spent your money on. I feel quite strongly about that. I'm getting quite angry. Make good rule books. Right. Adam, I enjoy having a few games because then when friends come over or new people join the group, we have a choice. Yeah, and that's the thing. When I used to have my games weekends here, and the fact that I had 30 people over, they were here for 4 days, they could come up to my games room, look at the collection and go, oh my God, you've got that. Let's play that. You know, a game that they would not normally play. But suddenly you go to somebody's house, you're there for 3 days and you think, oh, there's a game from 15 years ago that I've never played, that I've heard is good. The fact that I had a lot of these older games in my collection, that's one reason why I kept them. So other people can play them. Adam says, haven't used or played a game in a long, long time, then you'll either sell it or pass it on. Yeah. Ecarisona, if that's how you pronounce it. Civilization game played along the equator. Each time zone represents a different period in history. Ooh, that's an interesting idea. Gabriel is playing Mansions of Madness 2nd edition on Wednesday. Best of both. Yeah. Apologies for this, Gabriel. That's 2 games you've mentioned. And I don't like either of them. Yeah. Mansions of Madness 2nd edition, I think, is an awful game. I think it's devoid of any meaningful player interaction. It's purely pressing buttons on an app and random stuff happens. You open a door, you press a button, a random thing happens. You go into a fight. You make a player decision of which weapon to use, but it's not really a decision because you use the best one. Then you press a button to tell you what happens. No player decisions at all. And the game has very, very limited replayability, I feel. Really limited replayability. Anyway, ballpark idea of the ratio of the Through the Ages board games sold to the app. I don't, but ask CGE. Yeah, remind me and I will ask CGE. They'll tell me. Whether they will then allow me to tell everybody else, I don't know. But I'm interested. Because I have an idea of how many Through the Ages are sold. I don't know how many the app sold. I'm going to guess that the app has sold more, and I'm going to guess that it sold twice as many. I will ask CGE. Dan Cudden-Jones, thank you very much for joining in the chat, Dan. You get that Facebook notifications on the iPad, but not the iPhone. Interesting. And the problem is, and this makes me really angry, eventually I gave up using the app and I thought, I'll just use a browser and I'll use Facebook in a browser on the iPad and it double spaces. And I'm not saying it double spaces like double space after a full stop. It double spaces. Every time you press space, you get 2 spaces. Apparently, Facebook aren't going to fix it. They put the bug in there to make people use the app. Because the app, they can force you to see the things that they want you to see, and you have very little control over it. Like on the website, you can change it to, latest stories first. On the app, you can only see top stories. Anyway, let's stop ranting about that. That is it for the live chat. Let's go back to the Board Game Trading in Chat Facebook group. Do you own any Jaffa Cake themed or flavoured socks? No. Thank you very much, Scott, for your sock related question. Jenny, which has been your favourite game of the last month, 3 months, 6 months? Oh, well, I'm so fickle, right? Right now, my favourite game is Cloud Spire because I played it this afternoon. This is how easily persuaded I am. I am just like a kid in a sweet shop with, oh, new game, shiny new game. I'll play Tainted Grail like maybe tomorrow, and that'll then be my favourite game. Marvel, the new Marvel Champions LCG, which I acquired a copy of at Tabletop Gaming Live last month, and I've played 3 times. Amazing, love it. So that's my favourite game as well. To be honest, let's forget the excitement. I've only played the solo game of Cloud Spire, and I'm still learning it, and I'm still getting to grips with it. And scenario 1 of the solo scenario, I think, is too difficult. They've made it too hard. They should have made it a bit easier as an introductory scenario. So I've not played Cloud Spire PvP. I've not played it cooperatively. I've not played it anything other than solo. Talking about it makes me want to play it again. But the Marvel game was just fantastic, and I loved that. So that's probably the best game I've played in the last week. Best game I've played in the last month. Right, I'm going to answer Jenny's question. Give me a minute. I'm going to open up Board Game Geek on here. I am going to go to My Geek. I'm going to go to My Played List. Where is it? Browse. Where's it gone? Oh, it's under here now. Played. Now, bearing in mind, this is not updated for this month. Yeah, I haven't updated it for September yet. So, show me all games that I've played. Let's just do 3 months. To today's date. And show me it by game. Go. Right, so games that I've played recently that I really enjoy. So Pathfinder adventure card game. Yeah, I'm enjoying that a lot, but I don't think it's a great game because I think it's massively random. I think there's some clever bits to it, but massively random. Sierra West is good. City of the Big Shoulders, didn't like at all. A Mull, really like a Mull. That's really good. It's really hard for me to pick. It's like I've always said, I've got 50 top 10 games. Because when I think a game is great, I say that's a top 10 game. But I've got 50 of them I like. So, Sierra West is very good, but I have issues with... I'm doing a review of Sierra West probably tomorrow. Player count, I'm not sure about on that. It's scaling well. A Mull is very good. So I'm going to say a Mull is up there. Deep Blue is quite nice. The push your luck element, it's very random. But it's great as an introductory game for people. Ragusa is good. Reavers of Midgard I've enjoyed. Watergate is very good. Kalis 1303 is fantastic. So Kalis 1303 has got to be up there. Copenhagen is also really good. Crown of Amara is really good. Flick Fleet is a lot better than I thought. Flick Fleet video going live this week. It's a flicky dexterity game, but it's actually really good and really tactical. Irish Gauge, I've only played the once. Not sure about that. There's something that happened in our game which basically meant I just kept repeating something and it was boring and I won. North American Railways is really good and very underrated. Point Salad is all right. Quartermaster General 1914 was good. Terraforming Mars is good. Undo Blood in the Gutter is absolutely awful. So out of those games, you want to know what is the favourite game of the last month. And as I say, I haven't put in my games yet for September. So out of all of those, which would be my favourite one? Wow. This is so hard. Jenny's making me really think. I'm going to say Marvel. I'm going to say the Marvel Champions card game. Yeah, and I need to play it more. But I think it's fantastic. I think it's very, very good. More videos on that coming soon. Nilsson wants to know, what should people going to Essent for the first time be aware of? Well, it's funny you should ask that. I've already answered that earlier on in the chat. So hopefully that's answered all of your questions. If you have any other questions, just let me know. Don't forget, Thursday night, Gaming Rules Meetup at Fitzpatrick's. Be there. John Alexander, is kickstarting games an increasingly worthless experience? Oh my God, this is a whole topic for a whole other thing. Kickstarting games, is it? So I have been waiting for the bottom to fall out of Kickstarter for the last 3 years, and I thought it would have done by now. The thing that really bothers me with kickstarting games is you jump on board, you get excited about it, you help that creator make their game. You back it, you pledge your money, you make the stretch goals. You know, it wouldn't happen without you. And then you pay shipping, and then you pay everything else. And then it comes out at retail with the stretch goals for cheaper than you bought it on Kickstarter. That's what bothers me. Now, they're not all like that, but some are. And it's like, why are Kickstarter publishers, and some of them are, and credits to those that are, why are Kickstarter publishers not saying, if you back this game on Kickstarter, I mean, let's be honest, there's no middleman. They are making, this is the normal RRP of a game that you buy in a shop. This is how much the shop takes. This is how much the distributor makes. This is how much other stuff takes, like postage and whatever. And this what's left is what the publisher gets. A game on Kickstarter, this is how much Kickstarter take. This is how much postage you take. And this is what the publisher gets. So the publisher is getting a massive percentage amount more, right? Jeff Engelstein said, any publisher is foolish if they don't use Kickstarter, because you're getting this. You're cutting out the distributor. You're cutting out the shops. You're cutting out the retail. And I know there's an argument of brick and mortar stores. I totally get that, but the world's changing. I'm sorry, the world is changing, and these things happen, you know? Online retailers, it's a thing. It's not going to go away. So what I think Kickstarter publishers should do is, instead of putting their game on Kickstarter for this amount, they should put it on for this amount. Buy your game from us now on Kickstarter. Help us make this game a reality, and you'll get 30% off the RRP or 40% off the RRP. They're still going to make more money than if it went to retail. So what was the question? I've gone on a rant again. Is kickstarting games an increasingly worthless experience? It doesn't seem to be. People are still going on and backing games and getting excited about them. And games are still going on Kickstarter and getting the hype and getting all of the stuff and getting the advertising. And what's in it for you? You need to make sure you're not going to get screwed over, and you're not going to be able to just buy the game at retail and get the same things. And there are Kickstarter exclusives as well, which I don't like Kickstarter exclusives. I don't like the, give us your money now, because if you do, you'll get this, which you won't get anywhere else. And I get it. I totally get it. You know, because they'd be foolish if they didn't do Kickstarter exclusives. I'm not doing a game on Kickstarter. If I did, the advisors that I have would tell me to do Kickstarter exclusives, because otherwise people will just wait and buy it at retail. But is it a worthless experience? I don't think so. When you've got games coming out that I don't know about this one yet, but games coming out that look fantastic. They're hopefully really good games, and you've kickstarted it, and you're in with a chance of, you know, helping it be a thing, and you get it and you play it and it's fantastic. What I love about Kickstarter is we would never have this without Kickstarter. We'd never have this without Kickstarter. We'd never have Gloomhaven without Kickstarter. Kickstarter has enabled people to make games that they wouldn't have been able to make before. Anyway, John Sullivan, what would be your top 3 games that everybody should have to introduce new gamers to? I've already answered that question. You asked me that in the live chat. Excellent. That is the end of all of the questions that I got asked beforehand, which means we're going to start wrapping things up. I am going to answer all of the rest of the questions in the live chat, and then I'm going to go downstairs and eat, because my stomach is making a lot of grumbling noises. Just to let you know, if you are watching this live, send me an email and you will be in with a chance of winning £25 worth of games vouchers from Games Law, who sponsor this show. Send me an email, paul.grogan@outlook.com, Cloudspire or Tainted Grail. Choose which one you think is going to be your favourite game, or whichever one is your favourite game if you've played both. And if you're a patron supporter, you will get entered twice into the contest. Please let me know in the email that you are a patron supporter. And yeah, send me that email in the next 5 to 10 minutes, because I'm going to go downstairs, get dinner, and then I'm going to do the draw. Right, let's go back to the live chat. I can relax now, because answering live chat questions and looking at all of the other ones is a lot of hassle. Tell you what, should I just get Cloud Spire out and let's play that? No. For those people who want to know what's coming up on the channel soon, I might as well do that now. Tomorrow, Oathsworn Video 3 is going live. This is the final part of the trilogy. Oathsworn Video 1 is already on my channel. It's a 5-minute video giving you a very high-level overview of what the game is. Video 2 is on my channel right now. It's an 8-minute video going into more detail about the story part of each chapter. Video 3 is a 20-minute video covering about the encounter, which is the tactical minis combat side of the game. That video is going live tomorrow. Flick Fleet, the video, it's a tutorial and playthrough. I've got one small edit, to do tomorrow. That will be going live. I am doing a review of Sierra West. That should be going live this week. I am doing a review of Ragusa. That should be going live this week. And I am doing my monthly video log, which will cover the whole of, well, no, it'll cover the last 3 weeks worth of work, because I think I did the last vlog middle of September. Yeah, so the latest vlog will go live and that'll be 3 weeks. What else am I doing? Oh, Arkham Horror. Live show for Arkham Horror this coming Wednesday. Also, possibly, and I haven't asked anybody yet, but Alubari, a nice cup of tea. I will be doing a live tutorial and playthrough video of that possibly this Friday. The problem is, it's a sponsored one. Therefore, I need to really learn it and practice teaching it and really make sure I know that game properly before doing a sponsored live teach of the game. I don't know if I'm going to have time to do that before Friday, but I will try. If not this Friday, it will be next Friday, which is the Friday before Essent. And then I'm working on Non-Mars, which I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also dreading it because it's like a 80-hour job and I've got a week to do it in. And it's going to kill me before I go to Essent. So anyway, right, back to the live chat. That's what's coming up on the channel. And a lot of that content that I have mentioned is only made possible through my Patreon campaign. So the vlog, the reviews, the live playthroughs, well, the Alubari one will be sponsored. The On Mars is obviously a commissioned piece of work, but everything else is purely funded through my Patreon campaign. So without the support of my patrons, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be doing what I did this afternoon. Thank you very much for making all of this possible, because I'm actually really enjoying it. Shh, don't tell them that. Right. Next. Scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. Are there any games that has there been a big gap between your view ID? Is there any game that there has been a big gap between your view ID? Not sure what you mean by that. That's the Shogunstein. Thank you very much for the question, but I don't know what it means. Could you ask it again? Nice Day 3. What do you think of the Tiny Epic series? I've not played many of them. I've played Tiny Epic. What was the first one? Kingdoms? And I quite liked it. I think I was the halflings and I was trying to persuade people to attack me and then I retaliated. Something like that. I've only played it once and I quite liked it. I've played Tiny Epic Quest once and I quite like that. I haven't played Tiny Epic Galaxies, but I've heard that's good. I haven't played Tiny Epic West. I've heard that's not so good. Yeah, so I quite like them. The ones that I've played, I quite like. I think they're quite expensive for what you get in the box, but that's because it's a small box. But I think there's a lot of game in there for a small box. Right. Next. Oh, incomplete question. Here it is. Is there any game that there has been a big gap between your review and public opinion of the game? Either that you really like and publicly didn't, or vice versa. Okay, so my reviews are the same as my public opinion of the game. My review is my public opinion of the game. It's also my private opinion of the game. I'm not sure what you mean there, but when I do a review, and I'm talking a review here, not my playthrough videos, not my tutorial videos, but my actual review videos, that is my personal opinion on the game, and I have no problem with anybody knowing it. And that's my personal opinion, and that's my public opinion of the game. The games which I am professionally involved in, I try to stay away of my personal opinion. So if, for example, Chip Theory Games commissioned me to create a series of tutorial videos for this and were paying me money to do tutorial videos for this, I would not be saying what I said today about this game. I would not be saying, wow, this game's great, and oh, I'm loving this game. I would not be saying that. Because if I'm being paid to do work on the game, even if I do think the game is great, I feel it would be morally wrong of me to say the game's great. And I know some other content creators use the line of, well, I'm not endorsing the game by putting it on my channel, but the fact that I'm putting it on my channel and I am very picky with what I put on my channel, that's kind of endorsing it. Well, I get that as well, but you've kind of just said, and you know, it's weird. So yeah, it's a difficult situation they're in, especially when I'm a gamer. I've been a gamer since the 80s. I love playing games. I get excited about games. And I play a game like Chocolate Factory, and Alley Cat Games commissioned me to do a rules video for it. Therefore, I can't really... So I played it. I played it in order to learn how to play the game. And people were saying, what's it like? Tell us what you think. And I didn't really want to. It would be wrong, I think, if I was to go online and start saying, oh yeah, the game's great, when I've been commissioned to do a rules video for it. Anyway, right, so yes. Did I say I'm having a meetup at Essent? Yes, Adam. Thursday night, straight after the halls close, Fitzpatrick's, they do food, they do drink. Please be there. It would be great if you were there. And everybody else who's watching this, yeah, please be there. Right, Carl from N20 Games has said he has like 100 top 10 movies. Yeah, I'm the same. John's got to go. Thank you very much, John. Do you like roll and write games, and do you have a favourite? Yes, I do like roll and write games. I mean, they're really popular at the moment, and I've played a few of them. I've played Railroad Inc., and I like Railroad Inc. Roll and write games, I'll be honest with you, I quite like my roll and write games nice and quick and simple. There are some roll and write games out there that are, you know, a bit more than that, and I quite like the ones that are nice and simple. So Ganchon Clever, Railroad Inc., things like that. I also played, was it Blocks? I played that live with Chris from Every Night is Great Game Night, and that was good fun as well. So yeah, I like roll and write games. The Shogun Scene says, yeah, that just happened on one of your last Kickstarters. Retail came out at the same time and cheaper. It's shocking. It really is. And what I would like to see is that publisher, the next time they go to Kickstarter, people don't back their games, but people do. Brant Sanderson, thanks for recommending a mull. You've played it several times recently and it's been one of the favourites of the year. Hidden gem for sure. Thank you, Brant. And yes, again, you've said thank you for recommending it. I've just done a sponsored live playthrough video for a mull. But before they contacted me and wanted to sponsor me to do a playthrough video of it, I was saying how great it was. So there we go. I'm not allowed now to say how great it was, but yeah, a mull. How many people have you played it with? Because it takes 3 to 8, and I really want to play it with 8. I've played it with 3, I've played it with 4, I've played it with 6. I'd love to play it with 8, because it's not that much longer. Carl's got to go. Thank you very much, Carl, for joining in. Don't forget to send me the email to enter the contest. Bob is here. Hello, Bob. When do you think you will talk a little bit more about Kalis 1303 and hopefully compare it to the classic? Do you want to do it now? Let's do it now. I have actually written an article which will be appearing in the Spirit of Games magazine number 7, I hope, about Kalis 1303. I'm happy to talk about it now. And I can compare it to the classic Kalis. It's more streamlined. The new rulebook is online. It's more streamlined. It plays in about half of the time, and you can explain the whole game in about 15 minutes. I think it is much more accessible for a modern audience. There are always people out there who are going to say, no, the original Kalis is a masterpiece, and the new version, I'm not even going to let it into my house because it's a stain upon our memories, whatever. The new version, I've played it a number of times and it's great. And I love the new version, and I will always now choose to play the new version over the old version. And the reason is, it gives me that same feeling and the same enjoyment in half the time. So money has gone. There is no money in the game anymore. Your workers they've basically combined workers and money together into one resource. So you no longer have 6 workers that you place and you put back. You have a pool of workers and you place them and they're gone. And the marketplace is spend a worker to buy a resource, because workers are now money combined. The movement of the provost is done in a very similar way. You spend workers to move the provost. A lot of it is done in a very similar way. The building in the castle is done in batches, exactly the same as it was before, but you don't put houses on the board. So the game doesn't end, the phase doesn't end after a particular section is completed. The king doesn't penalise you if you weren't in there. It's just you deliver a batch, and the player who delivered the most batches in a round gets a favour. That's it. The favours are done differently. The old favour track is completely gone, which I like, because the old favour track was the bottom track was way too powerful. The new favours are done differently because there are now characters. Everybody starts the game with one character. There are 3 other characters available in the game. There are more, so you choose ones at random. And as a favour, you can take a character from the board and get a bonus, or steal a character from somebody else. And that's the way the favours work. That's essentially it. But yeah, the game is great. Really, really enjoy it. And I will be doing a commissioned playthrough video on it sometime. November, maybe December, because it's not going to be out at Essent, I don't think. Apologies, I've just given my personal opinion on a game that I'm doing a commissioned playthrough video on. It's really hard. It's really hard not to. And everybody who knows me knows that I love Kalis. So it's no secret. Brant played a mull with 6. Cool. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. And I think you saying it is a hidden gem, I think it is. So if you're interested, go and check it out. Check out my video. I did a live stream of it on Friday. See if it's the kind of thing you'd like. AC Geek is going to bed because it's midnight. Thank you very much for joining in. Don't forget to send me the email. Nilsson wants me to know what are my thoughts on the new Gloomhaven. The new Gloomhaven that was announced, I think, is fantastic. One of the biggest problems with Gloomhaven is the accessibility for new players. And the new Gloomhaven addresses that. It's no stickers on the map, 4 characters, 25 scenarios or whatever. It's basically, it's a My Little Gloomhaven, but it's Gloomhaven cut down. So yeah, I think it's really good. Uffy's got to go as well. Thank you very much for joining in the chat. Your dinners are served. Yeah, my dinner is probably ready. Speaking of roll and writes, please play Fleet, the dice game. It's amazing. Yeah, I've heard people say it is. So Fleet, the dice game. Keep reminding me. Needs to be on my list. I need to try that. And I think that is it. I think that is all of the questions from the chat. I'm exhausted. I'm hungry. I really should have some time off tonight. Go and watch a bit of TV. Chill. Because my adrenaline levels are through the roof. I've been on the go all weekend. Mainly because I've had so much work to do, but also I'm so excited to play this. What I want to do tonight is either play this or play Marvel Champions, but Vicky's not in the mood for playing games. So it will be a night of sitting down and watching telly. We tried to watch The Last Airbender last night. I've been wanting to watch this film since it came out. We watched it last night for 45 minutes and turned it off. And we don't do that with films. We stick with films till the end, even if they're bad. We didn't with that one. It was that bad. So I don't know what we're going to watch tonight, but yes, I'll be having a TV night and probably some painting. Although, as I say, I want to play Cloud Spire. Well, actually, I want to play Tainted Grail. Oh, you can tell that I like playing games. I'm going to wrap things up now. Yeah, thank you very much to everybody in the chat. There's been a load of people here. Thank you very much to all of the questions in advance. Last chance to enter the contest. paul.grogan@outlook.com. Cloud Spire or Tainted Grail. Put that in the subject line. Thank you very much to Paul from Games Law for constantly supporting the channel. And one of you is going to win £25 worth of vouchers. If you are not watching this live and you are watching this afterwards, thank you very much for watching, but please don't enter the contest. I always get an email in about a week's time with somebody going, oh, Cloud Spire, can I win? No, sorry. Thank you very much to everybody in the chat again. And yeah, let's wrap things up and say goodbye. I will see you next time.
Gaming Rules is proudly sponsored by Game Toppers, upgrading your gaming experience.